Well, you've asked for it, and here it is, my updated Godzilla collection. Here I'll be showcasing all the different DVD and Blu-ray releases for the films, as I have one copy of every film on both DVD and Blu-ray, with some other goodies I'll be showcasing as well. I'll be pointing out the ideal versions to get and the ones that you want to avoid. So anyone out there looking to build up their own collection, stick around and I'll tell you the best ones to get. Starting off here with the VHS tapes. As you can tell, there are quite a few new additions since my previous video. I prefer to get these Paramount tapes because I like the cover art and they have a bit of a consistency to them. As you can see with Mothra and Godzilla, they're pretty similar artwork. I want to get a lot more of these Showa tapes, but I still haven't gotten around to it. And this is primarily the last real thing I have to focus on with my Godzilla collection is VHS tapes. So I've got all the DVDs, I've got all the Blu-rays. And here are some the Heisei ones. I've got the first three Heisei films, 85, Biollante, and King Ghidorah. Biollante being, you know, one of my favorites, so I'm really excited to have gotten this one. Show the back art there. So this is one of the newer ones. So I can go ahead and show the back art on these as well. These ones have these like these are pretty consistent here. Little descriptions of the film, one still. Not uncommon in VHS. Here we have 85, back art there. This was originally aired on HBO in America. This one did not go into theaters, and I believe the VHS was pretty hard to find. I spent a good penny on this one, but it also came with this Rebirth of Mothra tape, which those films are somewhat difficult to find, so I was happy to get this one. I didn't even know the Rebirth of Mothras came out on VHS in the US. Here's the back. First two did. And the first one's kind of expensive, sort of haven't gotten it yet, but I would love to. And here's King Ghidorah. I don't know what to say. I mean, the Japanese artwork for this film is so incredible, and then this is not very incredible, but it's also so iconic. I really love this film. I don't care what anyone says about it. And of course, the tape that damn near everyone had back in the day, Godzilla '98. I found this at a thrift store for like 98 cents. Unfortunately, it's not the shiny cover one, but you know, good to have it. That's about all I've got for the VHS tapes, so let's move on to the DVDs. Quite a bit of new goodies added onto them. So I'll be breaking these down by arc, starting with Showa, and I'll be doing DVD and Blu-ray separate. And in case you're wondering why this looks a little small, the other films are in these little box sets here. So let's dig into it. Before we get into the Showa films, I actually wanted to show off some of these older extra Toho films I have. This is the 3-film Toho collection. It has H-Man, Battle in Outer Space, and Mothra, which was a main highlight of getting this. Mothra at the time was only available on DVD with other box sets, DVD sets for whatever reason. And these other films are pretty cool. If you like classic Showa Toho films. And unfortunately, this is the only copy of Rodan that I have, Rodan. There is a Toho Master Collection silver case for it, which comes in a duo package with War of the Gargantuas. Very expensive, and it is really the only thing I feel that I'm truly missing in my collection. Hopefully, next time I make one of these, I'll have it, but I do have this, and I've talked about these before in the previous video, this particular release, SMV, which are pretty early DVDs that are still VHS quality. These are not remastered or anything, and they're also only the English dub. So really, you're just getting the VHS tape on a DVD. It's not great. At least I have the film in some fashion. So I've got two box sets here. This is the most famous one. Sorry, it's a little dusty. This is the most famous one here, the Godzilla collection. There are 3 versions of this. This is the second version. The first one is very similar, but the top actually comes off, and the films you can pick from the top. And you can see this little piece here as its own standalone item in the cardboard. This is the second version. It's basically just a cardboard box that's modeled after the first one, with all of the individual films on the side. Back art, all the monsters featured in there, and films. The third version is just the DVD jewel case with all the movies in it, essentially. And this is one of the Sony multiple box sets that they did, just kind of throwing in random films together. This one has Hedorah and Gigan and Godzilla 98. Two of these I was missing from the last time I made a video, so that's cool. I believe I didn't have these last time I made the video. I upgraded this quite a bit after that last one when I realized how many I actually didn't have with the DVDs. But I have every DVD now, so let's go ahead and dig into the Showas. And first up here we have the true must-have for a Godzilla collection, the Toho Master Collection Gojira. This was the first time that you could watch the original Japanese film in America officially. That wasn't an import or some other means of acquiring it. And you see here it has the information for both the Japanese and the US version. I'll take this off so we can see what's inside. This is just one of the most beautiful DVDs I've ever owned. I've had this DVD majority of my life, and I used it all the time until Criterion did the Blu Ray. And even still, I have to revisit this one because it is just glorious, beautiful, beautiful work of art. The inside here, nice crackle. Got a booklet here, essays, and we have both films each on their own disc. The original Japanese, and then the English version with Raymond Burr, King of the Monsters originally. There's some nice artwork on the inside too. If I can pop the discs out. Look at that. That is beautiful. Sorry for the crack. I've had this for a few years. There have been multiple DVD releases of this film, and I've highlighted them before. Many of them are not good quality. This is the one that you want. If you're trying to get the OG on DVD, you want this one. Really, you want this box set to get that in it. But right after that, we have Godzilla Raids Again. Take off the little side label, take off the little label there. Let's see the information. I do like that they include the English release dates on there. That's really nice. Godzilla Raids Again. Also, beautiful artwork. You can tell that, you can see it's slimmer than the Gojira one. Mainly it also has one disc in it. But it's still so beautiful. Artwork on the inside. There's the disc. It has both the US version and the Japanese version. Again, the first time the Japanese version has been available in America. I actually really enjoy this film. I know it's kind of a hit or miss for people. I still think it's pretty technically impressive considering that it only came out a year after the first one. And this is the only way you can own it on DVD. This is the only DVD release for this film. Next up is the Universal release for King Kong vs. Godzilla. Not really anything spectacular here. There's the back art. There's a Blu Ray with this as well, and I'll show it when we get to the Blu Rays. It's basically identical. There's no main menu, there's nothing special about this. It's just the US Universal release of the film. This version's not in HD and the Blu Ray is in HD. That's about all there is to it. If you're gonna get it, get the Blu Ray or just get the Criterion box set, as you'll get the original Japanese one for the first time in America as well. So that's definitely the definitive way to own the film. Next up is Mothra vs. Godzilla. As you hear with the label, look at the information on there. This is my favorite Showa film that isn't the OG. Also known as Godzilla vs. the Thing in the US. They both came out in 1964. That's pretty impressive, actually. They don't usually come out the same year. Here is the inside artwork. Here's the back. Now this film also has a couple DVD releases that are like the Rodon one. They're just the US version with the VHS quality. This is the DVD that you want for quality and both versions of the film. Very nice collection. Next we have Ghidorah. Some of these are kind of hard to stand on the label, so I'll show it off there. Also known as Ghidra. Some people have gotten onto me for how I pronounce the name. Typically I pronounce the monsters' names with the original Japanese titles. Here's the inside art. And as usual, this has the US and Japanese versions, and I believe this is the only DVD of this film that's available. Next up is Invasion of Astro Monster. There's your label info there. That one took 5 years to come out in the US. And another one of my favorites of the Showa. I love this film. Here's the inside art. Here's the back. And as usual, this is the US and Japanese version, the only DVD for it. Now we're getting to our first Sony release here, where you see with the 50th anniversary label, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. For whatever reason, Sony got their hands on this one and they were the ones who released it. It does have the English and Japanese, and the quality's pretty good for a DVD. This is one of the later ones I got. I'm not quite sure if I had this one when I did the last video, and it's pretty solid. But I would recommend getting the Blu-ray as usual. But if you're looking for the DVD, this is it. Also from Sony is Son of Godzilla. Very similar, 50th anniversary, pretty similar photoshopped poster work there, side label. And then back here you can see it has English and Japanese, anamorphic, and says high definition. It's not really, but it's still, still pretty good. Not an awful DVD release. Now this one is an awful DVD release. I despise this. This is your big warning here. ADV. If any fans of Ava will know just how awful some of their releases are. And this is pretty similar to the Ava end of Ava DVD. It's letterboxed. This one's only in English. Doesn't have the Japanese. Doesn't even have a menu. Doesn't have settings or anything. It's letterboxed. The quality is not good. It's just not ideal. But it was the only way to get it on DVD at the time. There's a little inside pamphlet there. Not even a pamphlet, it's just a little artwork. Great cover though, I absolutely love this artwork. It's the same as the VHS, but the DVD quality is just not there. Next up is All Monsters Attack. Here's the little label. All Monsters Attack, also known as Godzilla's Revenge. My personal least favorite Godzilla movie. Some people really like it. I don't really think that this one justified being a Toho Master Collection, but here it is. English and Japanese. Only DVD to have the Japanese. I believe this got one of those crappy VHS DVDs. This is the one that you want. These next two I showed that came in the box set, Hedorah and Gigan, also known as Godzilla vs. Smog Monster. Side art here. Pretty iconic DVD cover, really. And the inside here, there's the disc art, and we got a little ad here. It's got an ad for some of the other movies, and it's got an ad for the game. And I will actually be showing my games and extra goodies after all the movies at the end of the video. And then similar with Gigan, it has different movies advertised on there, but the other side is the same game. And there's your disc art. Here's your back. Both have English and Japanese and French subtitles, interestingly enough. And they're all the same quality as the other Sony DVDs. They're not awful, they're pretty good. And you know, they're all we had at the time. Now, this is a Blu-ray, I realize it's not a DVD. Megalon never really got an official DVD in the same light as these other films. Megalon had a release by, what is their name? Tokyo Shock? Yeah, Tokyo Shock. They did a DVD and Blu-ray. It was the same exact copy, just one was on DVD and one was on Blu-ray. It went out of print pretty fast because they had some licensing issues with this film and another that they released, which we'll get to in the Blu-ray collection. I did not get the DVD copy, I got the Blu-ray copy, but this is essentially the same exact thing that would be in the DVD release. There are several bootlegs out there, and a lot of people had to get a bootleg because it was the only way you could get the film on DVD. But here's the back art, and here's the inside. It's actually a really good release, all things considered. Yet again, another Sony release. This one's a little damaged, but here's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Check back art, English and Japanese, disc art. It's got Mechagodzilla on there. I mean, yeah, it's same as all the others. And to wrap up the Showa DVDs, we have Terror of Mechagodzilla, the last of the Master Collection. Here's your label there. And here's your artwork. Discard. There you have it. That is all of the Showa films on DVD. Pretty inconsistent, as you can see, with the different releases, and there's different versions, as I've highlighted, but these are the ones that you really want to get for your collection for the best quality and for having both English and Japanese. And we'll be moving on next to my personal favorite era, the Heisei DVDs. So first up here with the Heisei films, we have Godzilla 1984. This is the Kraken release. They also did Blu-ray. This was the first time the film was ever released in North America, as you can see in the top label there. We originally got Godzilla 1985, which was similar to the Raymond Burr King of the Monsters re-release, re-edit. This one does not have that, as that has never been released officially on DVD. It's only on VHS and Laserdisc. Maybe beta. I'm not actually sure if it's on beta. Probably is. But this is the only way you can own 84 on DVD, the Kraken release. I believe it's out of print now, actually. Here's the back label. I do have the Blu-ray, and I'll be showing that in the Blu-ray collection. Here is the inside disc. Pretty good quality. I mean, the Blu-ray is obviously better, but it's not a bad DVD. It does have a dub in there. I don't know who the hell dubbed it, and it's not very good. But none of the Heisei dubs are very good to begin with. But pretty solid DVD. I'm happy to have this film. The original Japanese had been so hard to get in the US for a long time. I still dream of a day we'll get 85 on Blu-ray. Probably won't happen unless Criterion can work some magic. Now we have the Holy Grail of Godzilla collections by Alante. And yes, I do have the Blu-ray, and I'll be showing it in the Blu-ray collection. Very hard to find film. Out of print, of course. Very hard to find, very expensive. Blu-ray is even more expensive. It's your inside artwork. I mean, the DVD is whatever. I don't really watch it on DVD. I watch the Blu-ray or VHS. I don't really have much to say about the DVD. If you want this film, I try to get the Blu-ray. It's a lot better. But if this is the only way you can get it, get this movie, because it's very hard to find, and until Criterion does something, it's going to stay that way. Now, this one is interesting. This is the double feature for Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Godzilla and Mothra. If you recall from my previous video, I did not have this one at the time. I finally hunted it down. Finally got a copy. It's a double-sided disc for both movies. And there's this nice little pamphlet inside. This nice little pamphlet. Look at that. This DVD came out in the late 90s, so they used to do cool shit like this because DVD was still new. This DVD was probably really expensive when it came out. I remember my dad had this DVD. I watched it so much. I love these films. Not this one as much, but I absolutely love this film. This is a really nice DVD. It's cool to have as a collector's item just because it's such an early DVD. It's got cool interactive menus and stuff. It's a real throwback. Put this on a CRT, you have a good time, good nostalgia trip. It's kind of funny how this film came out in the 90s on DVD. These two took quite a long time. That one wasn't until like 2014. And Biollante was around the same time, 2012 maybe. This DVD came out in the 2000s. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, as you can tell by the 50th logo here, it is another Sony DVD. Pretty good, quality's a bit better. This is a newer film. It's got the English and Japanese. It's good. It's the same as the Sony DVDs. It's pretty good. And we're already at the end of the Heisei era. The last two films here, Space Godzilla and Destroya, on a double feature. And of course, these are the only DVD versions of these movies. I should say that. These are the only way you can get these movies on DVD. It's another double disc. This is not a pamphlet, this is just a chapters list. And here's the other side. This one in particular was one of the first Godzilla DVDs I had. I watched it so much. This is one of the few ones that I owned, and I have so much nostalgia, not even just for the movies, but just for the DVDs, because I would just be like going through the menus and praying that I could get more Godzilla movies. Somehow I can get other ones to play. Great collection. I'll go ahead and wrap up Heisei with 98, as it is kind of the middle point between that and Millennium. This is a DVD that, like the VHS, many of us probably had at least one DVD copy of this film. Relatively inexpensive, cool behind-the-scenes stuff on there. I might check that out at some point. I do have the 4K, and I'll show that when we get to the Blu Ray collection, but here's the DVD. And here is the cartoon series. I've never watched a single episode of this, but I found this at Walmart. It's a complete series, 40 episodes. Apparently some of them were never released. Yeah, 2 unaired episodes. This is a Mill Creek release. I have a lot of their stuff, and usually it's so-so. The quality is okay, and they usually stack the discs all the time. I hate that. I really do. That's about all there is for the DVD collection for Heisei. That is every DVD version of every Heisei film on DVD there. So let's go ahead and move on to the Millennium, which is still pretty consistent as well, thanks to Sony. So after Godzilla 1998, we had Godzilla 2000, which was Toho's response to that. When they thought they were done, they decided to come back a little bit earlier than they expected with Godzilla 2000, which came out in '99. A lot of people in America were confused because they thought this was a sequel to Godzilla 98. They had no relation to one another. This is only the US version, which is actually a bit of a re-edit. It's not just a dub, but they actually did some trimming to the timing of the film. Some people actually prefer it. I haven't watched the US version in a while, so I can't really give much input on that, but it is unfortunate that the Japanese is not available on this. It is on the Blu Ray, which is the first time it came out in the US, was on the Blu Ray. But it's still a really good movie. A lot of favorite for a lot of fans. I do love this movie. I haven't seen it that many times, but when I do watch it, I usually have a really good time with this one. It's a really solid entry, I think. And a not so solid entry, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. This is another Sony DVD, Sony TriStar. Does have the English and Japanese this time. The English is in 5.1, that's nice. HD audio, but the quality is not really HD. But there you go, Megaguirus. This is the only DVD of this film, but it did come out in another DVD collection. It was a 3-disc, or probably a 2-disc set. One for this one and a double-sided disc for King Ghidorah and Mothra for the Heisei films. Why they're all together, I don't know. Maybe because the monsters are in it, just by title alone. But this is the individual release, which I much prefer myself. Maybe I'll pick that one up one day. I don't know. English and Japanese, about the same as the other Sony TriStar films. Nice cover though, really iconic DVD to me. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Again, I'm really appreciating the consistency in these. Sony's not throwing any weird labels or anything. It's just, these are the films, here they are in order. You can watch them, no weird crap. Very nice artwork here, English and Japanese. Here's your disc art. Next we have Godzilla Tokyo SOS, sequel to Against. Unfortunately, it has the 50th label on there. Why? We're doing so good. Here's your inside. Got a little bit of artwork in there. Is there a different game trailer? Oh, there's some figures here. That's cool. That's nice. Here's the back. Got the English and Japanese. And then finally, to top it off, Godzilla Final Wars. The last of the Millennium films, the last Godzilla film for 10 years. You have English and Japanese. There's your back art. And there's your inside disc. Again, I really gotta give Sony credit here. I mean, they gave us each film individually in order, release order. These films were coming out pretty much straight to DVD in the US, and these were 2000s when they were coming out in Japan, so we were getting them pretty fast. relatively to when Japan was releasing them. It was a good time to live in. A lot of people my age are particularly nostalgic for this era of Godzilla films. I'm a little more for Heisei personally, but I do really appreciate these films, and being a 2000s kid, it's nostalgic. It's nice to go back to that time. And that is all for the DVDs. Next we'll be moving on to the Blu-rays. So here we are at the Blu-ray films. The first one here, we have Godzilla 1954 on Blu-ray. This is not the only Blu-ray release of the film, but this is the only one that matters. This is the only one that you care about. This is the only one that you want. This is Criterion. We love Criterion. Criterion is beautiful. This is a glorious box. One of my favorites of theirs for sure. I'm not a huge Criterion collector, but I want to be. I dream to be, especially with my obsession with pre-code films. You see the side here. We'll take it out of the box. We have this little booklet here, pretty similar to the Toho Master Collection, and then we have this beautiful box for the Blu-ray. You see the artwork there, and when we turn it around, Godzilla pops out at you. That's so freaking cool. And there's the disc art. So you have both versions of the film, the US and the Japanese version, on one disc, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, for the entire Showa series, we have the Big Boy Criterion box set. Beautiful box set. I went through this an unboxing video for it a while ago. I actually think I had to put it down because of some copyright issues. But here it is, big coffee table book here. Lots of glorious artwork for every film. Beautiful. I'm sure there's a lot of people have talked about this. There is some problems with the restorations, as Criterion didn't have everything that they needed. My main issue, and some of the films don't have the US versions. It's unfortunate. My main issue is that the discs came in these. I actually almost lost a disc to damage because some of the glue from the box got on it. So I came up with a solution for this. I had these custom made. Custom Godzilla cases to hold the Blu-ray discs. And they look really nice. They look like Criterion. I mean, I would have gotten clear ones if I could. I still should try to do that to make it look more like a Criterion collection. But you see, we break this one down to this is like the first half of Showa. I always consider it because it stops at Destroy All Monsters. But it has, the discs there. Most of these are 2 films on one disc. That one actually has 2 or 3 films on one disc. That's the first 4 discs, and this one has the last set of films and all of the bonus features. Discs. So that's the entire Showa collection right there. But there were some individual films that got Blu-ray releases, and we're going to take a peek at those. I'd like to give an honorable mention to the Mothra Blu-ray Steelbook. I really hope Rodon gets one of these. This is beautiful. This is one of my favorite steelbooks that I own. I take this cover off. You can see the own artwork there. Pop this open. Got artwork still from the film. It's just beautiful. This is a beautiful steelbook, and the quality is so good. It is a fantastic restoration. I absolutely love this release. So as I said, King Kong vs. Godzilla. Here's the Blu-ray. It's essentially the same thing. Disc is still clear, and then this one's just in HD. So that's about all there is to it. Here's one of the Kraken releases. They did several Godzilla Blu-rays. This is Sea Monster, Abra of the Deep. I really liked this one. It's a bit brighter color than the Criterion one, which could be a plus or a negative for some people because the Criterion's a little bit more color accurate. This one's a little bit more vibrant, just for more of an aesthetic choice, really. But it's a great one, and it has the English. I don't think that Criterion has the English for this film on it, so there's still merit in owning this. They also did this on DVD. Not worth it. You want to get the Sony one, you don't want to get the Kraken one, but here, yeah, this is pretty cool. Here's the Destroy All Monsters Blu-ray by Tokyo Shock. Absolutely beautiful cover. I love it. Inside's the same. So much far superior than the DVD. This has the English and Japanese, although so does Criterion. So, not a big deal to get this one, but at the time, this was the definitive way to own this film. Very nice Blu-ray. These are the last two Showa films on Blu-ray. We have Hedera and Gigan. Again, Kraken, same thing. More vibrant Blu-ray, not as color accurate, and they have the English and Japanese. So they are very nice additions to have. That's all of the Showa films on Blu-ray. Now let's move on to the Heisei. This is the last of the Kraken Blu-rays. Here, 1984. It's identical to the DVD. This one's in Blu-ray. It has better quality, and I have compared them, and the Blu-ray does look significantly better. It's the only way you can own 84 in HD in America until Criterion does something and finally gives us a Heisei box set. Now, this doesn't really count. This is a custom that I made of 1985, put onto a Blu-ray disc. I mean it quite literally. I just did that myself. This is from a fan restoration from the VHS tape to HD. Looks really damn good, and makes it easier for me to pop onto the TV to watch it. And as a collector, I like to just pretend that this is a real thing that exists. Now my actual holy grail Godzilla item, Godzilla vs. Biollante on Blu-ray. This is the highly sought after version. The disc art there with the bonus features. Yeah, this goes up for, last time I checked, it was like $200, over $200. It's my favorite Godzilla film. I'm glad I got it when I did. I'm glad I got it on Blu-ray when I did. There it is. As for the next of the Heisei films, Sony started doing these double feature Blu-rays. Each one has their own disc, and I kind of want to make my own individual cases for them, particularly because the order gets messed up in a second here, as you'll see. But here you have Ghidorah and Mothra once again as a double feature. The quality is good. I mean, I prefer to watch this version, but it's not that much of a difference from the DVD. It's really not that much of a restoration, but it is in 1080, so it's pretty good. These in particular are definitely not that very different from the DVDs, but here's Godzilla, Mechagodzilla 2 and Space Godzilla. The disc arts are nice. Here's the back. And this is where it gets weird. Well, these movies don't go together. Why, I wonder why they did that. Well, Godzilla 2000 got its own release, so somehow the numbering got messed up for the double feature, so they just had to slap these two on here together. The last of the Heisei with the second of the Millennium. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, and that's why I want to give these their own individual cases. Yeah, here it is. That's all of Heisei on Blu-ray. Here's an honorable mention for Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, the only release of the third film on Blu-ray. I'm just gonna go ahead and go through the rest of the Japanese films before the American ones. So here's Godzilla 2000. It got its own release. It has both the US and Japanese versions, but they're still just on one disc. I'm not sure why they were so... I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I guess just because they wanted to make the numbering stay even, whatever. But here it is by itself, as I dreamed to do to all the other ones. And these are in order. More double features. They're of their own discs. Back art. Same thing quality-wise, same as all the others. English, Japanese, pretty decent quality. And with the last of the Japanese films, as -1 has not been released on home video yet, here is Shin Godzilla. This is actually the first release. They've re-released this a couple times, Funimation has. The black label that pops out at you. There's the back art. And I actually used the reversible cover. I used the reversible cover on the inside. I like the black case that did this. Now we'll wrap things up with the Blu-rays. Here are the American films. This is Godzilla 1998. This is the 4K Steelbook. Pretty nice. I haven't actually watched the 4K yet. I haven't really felt much drive to watch this movie, but I picked it up just to have it for the collection. Pretty nice Steelbook. Since these later films, DVD felt irrelevant to talk about, because DVD just lower quality and it's the same releases as the Blu-rays. This is significant. This is the 4K steelbook for Godzilla 2014. This is an honest-to-God restoration of the film. They brightened it up so you can actually see what's going on in the movie. It is the definitive way to watch this film. Great restoration. Highly recommend it. It is the only way I can watch this movie now. I did have the normal Blu Ray for it, but I didn't really feel a need to show that because this is the definitive way to own it. And here's just the 4K for Kong Skull Island. It's just a standard 4K, nothing special about it. Kind of the same thing here too with King of the Monsters. I got the slipcover standard 4K because honestly, this cover just looked better than the steelbook did. I somewhat lament it, but not really that much. But there you go. Here is the latest entry in terms of home media. Godzilla vs. Kong 4K steelbook. So I realized I had actually forgotten to pull these out. Here is Godzilla Save the Earth on PlayStation 2, complete in box. And here is Godzilla, the PS4 game. There are plenty of games I still don't have, but I'm happy to have the ones that I do because they're pretty hard to find. And there you have it. That is a complete Godzilla Blu Ray collection. Every film on Blu Ray. Every film on DVD. I know in this era of streaming, it's kind of crazy to look at this. Same as when I did my original video, I hope that I can help some people who are looking to start their collections up by showing the definitive versions you want to get. I'm sorry for those who buy PAL versions. I really don't know a lot about that. I don't collect for it. Here is all of the definitive US Region A releases. And I hope this is a good starting guide for a lot of people who want to build their own collections, their own Godzilla collections, or just have some missing gaps they need to figure out, because here is everything. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.